Hi, welcome to the Vault Unlocked, the new segment where we are going to discuss new movies that we've seen in theaters. Hopefully on a bi-monthly or monthly basis, we'll figure it out. But we have 4 movies for you today. Weapons, Caught Stealing, Downton Abbey, the grand finale, and The Long Walk, which were released over August and September of 2025. We're excited to bring them up. We've talked a little bit about Weapons and Caught Stealing already in our Movie News episode 2, but we thought we could discuss it a little bit here in a different way. We're excited. We're AMC A-list stub members now. Stubs A-list.
Yeah, it's a really big mouthful because anyone can sign up for AMC Stubs, right? That's free.
Yeah.
But if you're on the AMC Stubs A-list, which is the level we're on, you get the ability to watch 4 movies a month. I feel like I'm advertising for AMC.
Yeah.
So
let's wait.
But it is relatively
let's wait for a sponsorship.
Deal,
so the first movie we have to go through, and anybody talk about it in any way you want, is Weapons. I loved this.
Yeah, Weapons is so good.
Did I tell you I rewatched it in theaters?
Yeah, I saw that you did.
Yeah, it was more wonderful in theaters.
Yeah.
So Zach Kreger directed this film, horror film. Kids go missing, like zombies. Witch controls people, makes them into zombies.
It's weird. It's gory. It's over the top. It's funny. But it's funny in a way that is funny within the bounds of it being a horror movie. So
yeah.
The comedy doesn't ever overdo it to make it more like an unserious horror film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times horror comedies, you think, oh, it's a spoof, or it's like we're just being goofy, and then there's some people are going to die. But it's more than that. It's a deeper film than that.
It plays into the weird, and it allows it to be funny. So I think it works well. Like that scene where they run by, and the guy with the he was actually a boom man. The guy with the lawnmower while he's watching the kids chase the witch.
Yeah,
and it shows his reaction. That was actually one of the boom men.
That's hilarious.
So that's. Do you have anything to add on Weapons? I think overall, I'm going to follow Zach Kreger's career. I will watch the Resident Evil movie. I really enjoyed. Maybe I'll rewatch Barbarian. Maybe we'll get to that point. I don't know.
I think he definitely has a promising future, and if horror movies are going this direction, I'm excited. So hopefully there'll be another. It's kind of like, you know, when there was that wave of Ari Aster and Hereditary, and there's the really like serious psychological, spiritual even horror movies. Well, we're in a new wave,
Thank
and
goodness.
I kind of like this new, still grounded but more.
Yeah.
I don't want to say lighthearted, but
Fun.
Yeah, more fun horror movies.
I also think this was the first breath of fresh air in a long drought of movies.
Yeah.
For 2025.
Definitely.
So maybe I am a little biased by that. Caught Stealing. Darren Aronofsky. We've talked about him a lot lately. We're going to be reviewing The Whale here soon for the 7th deadly sin of gluttony. But I watched The Fountain recently. I think there's so much with Darren Aronofsky. He has a lot of different styles that he combines in his films. This is his first big like action film, so it's a little bit different than what he's done before. What'd you think?
It's an edge of your seat thriller. It was interesting. Austin Butler's performance was really good. Drew you in story-wise, but more so action-wise, I would say, which is not what you expect from Aronofsky. There's a lot of twists and turns, some of them more predictable than others. But at the end of the day, I think it was just an exciting, interesting movie in the vein, as Zach has said, of After Hours.
Yep.
So potential for that kind of be one of those underrated movies that when you look back on a director's career, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was pretty good actually.
Yeah. The best of his, no, definitely not on the level of Requiem for a Dream or The Whale even, I'd say. So, or Pi. Pi is awesome. I love Pi. So Downton Abbey, the grand finale. We have 2 different perspectives. I've seen the show, and I've seen the previous 2 films. You've seen none of it?
I legitimately have seen nothing other than maybe a commercial on TV for Downton Abbey.
Well, before I ruin it, what's your perspective?
So I thought this was a really good. It felt like you could still feel the impact of the ending of the series and the passage of of Downton Abbey onto a new leader, and the change of the culture and how society and their view of the bourgeois. Wait, or is it the bourgeoisie? Because there's more. The bourgeoisie is changing, and how they're having to scale down a little bit. So all of that was very interesting.
Would you watch Downton Abbey?
I would. I think Emma and I were talking about this. My wife, I went with her because she has seen the other movies and she's seen, I think, a fair bit of the TV show. I don't know if she's seen all of it. But the one thing she did say is that sometimes it does get kind of repetitive, so I might struggle a little bit with that.
I disagree.
Just like the amount of time.
I disagree.
Okay. So you go on to your review because you'll be more accurate.
Well, I mean, there's not much to add besides 6 seasons in 2 movies is a lot of content to happen before this last right. So they had been preparing for these moments that happen in this film for about a decade. Just the passage of the right to the throne almost for the family of the Crawley family, going from Lord Grantham to Lady Mary. And I think that's something we've been waiting for so many years, and it finally came, and it kind of came with a little bit of resistance. And it's funny because Sean Fennessy pointed out that the climax of this film is the touring of a flat, an apartment. That's the climax of this film, is touring an apartment.
That is so true.
And it's just that, how is that interesting, right? But it makes it interesting because the meaning behind it. Like, England is changing in these decades. It's 1930 in this film. It's 15 years after the show started. And, the Titanic is long sank. That the first episode, the Titanic sinks.
Interesting. Okay.
It takes place in the real, time of that. So then now this show is like moving on into like the post Victorian, England era where, these big manors aren't affordable anymore. They got to think about income. They got to think about how can we support these things when the economy becomes a little bit more important in these aristocracies. And I think there's a lot of fun little character things as well. So it's not just about
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti is awesome.
He's so good.
He was good as the brother of.
Emma kept saying that character is so good. I was like, yes, because it's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He plays the buffoon who kind of ruins the money for the family on accident by he gets scammed by the villain of the film, and oh my gosh, just like taking such what I would consider boring concepts 5 years ago and making me fall in love with the nuances of this. And how beautiful was the film? Like when they're sitting outside in front of the manor, discussing, whether or not they should sell Downton. Like that was a beautiful landscape.
The staging of the characters, like anytime they're in a room, you'd be like focused on the forefront, but they would have like each character placed, which feels a little cold and like forced, but at the same time you're like feels like how these people would act.
Yeah,
they would be of position down to the minuscule detail is like positioned in their lives.
Yeah.
And and even at the end there was a little bit of the breakthrough of a servant or a former servant was in the presence of the nobility, and it was showing that the shift of culture was starting where it was going to be a little bit more fluid, like the US is supposed to be, at least, where there's not really this like aristocracy.
Yeah,
class.
The hierarchies are kind of changing, and I think it's hard for them to accept.
Fluid. Yeah,
it's hard for them to accept, and I think one of the most interesting parts of the film of the whole series, I should say, is the rise of Tom. And he is this guy that was a valet. He was kind of like at the beginning of the show, like the lowest of the totem pole, and he falls in love with the youngest sibling of Downton, and they get married, and it's against everybody's wishes. Like, why are you with this guy who's so poor? But like that was kind of the start of the show, breaking these hierarchies of like, no, these people are like also worth, these levels of engagement, I would say. And over time, he kind of like makes his way up. Unfortunately, the youngest sibling dies in childbirth, and Tom now has a right as an heir to the family, right? He's the only male, and England requires a male. So now he's like this valet that has the right to the throne, basically, of Downton. And he doesn't take it. He's not greedy. He's a very upstanding man and wins everyone's hearts by the end of the show.
And see, this I totally missed.
Yeah.
So that's the part that if you don't have the context of the show, you will miss out on. I will say, if you have a friend or family member or spouse who likes the show and you want to go see it with them, don't let it hold you back that you haven't seen the show. But you're definitely going to get more out of it if you have.
Yeah, and the cool part is you kind of see it in this film too, because he offers Lord Crawley, Lord Grantham, the money to fulfill the estate. So he's a really good son-in-law. And it's just like the leaders came in places that the older conservative people didn't expect, because the grandma is honored in this, and Violet, she's like really old-fashioned and did not accept a lot of these changes that were happening. And when she passes, even more changes happen. And it's just like, you can't stop it, so you kind of have to give the reins to someone who can handle the next generation. And that's kind of what the theme of this film is. And I thought it was beautiful. Sorry to go over time on that. And that came out on September 12th. Also on the same day, The Long Walk, which we watched together. Brutal.
Brutal. Based on the Stephen King novella. Not sure how long it is. It is an exceptional movie, and I know there's been lots of Stephen King adaptations, but this is the most hype I've seen around one since the first one came out. And he's a great writer, so you can see how people can take his stories and turn them into interesting movies, but you have to remember that you still have to execute it, even if you're working off so you have to get a screenwriter who can transcribe it in a way that makes sense. I heard some of the like more extreme stuff was left out, which probably is fine because this felt extreme enough. But I mean, we don't need to watch Saw, but
yeah. I mean, they're pooping on the road.
Yeah, that's true. They are. This isn't the opposite of Downton Abbey. This is like, I don't want to relax and have a good evening, and I want all my attention to be like in your face up there, like this is what's happening. So these kids sign up for this long walk. It's supposed to be sort of propaganda that's influencing, how these stories go.
Mark Hamill plays the statesman who
it's supposed to inspire people. Only one person makes it. Everyone else, they don't just lose, they die. They get shot. And it's like a lot of them are in a state of denial, and then they realize what they're actually signed up for, because they voluntarily are in this lottery, although there's some debate about how voluntary it is.
The argument is it's a post-capitalistic world, so they have no other choice besides to resort to violence, and that's the argument.
It's a very only way they could make this much money.
Yeah. And did you know this is his unofficially first novel? That he wrote this but didn't publish it. It was under his pen name, Richard Bachman. His freshman year in college at the University of Maine, he wrote this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. This movie had me until the end.
The end's tough.
I loved the friendship thing between
Cooper Hoffman,
Johnson, and Hoffman.
Actually, both the lead performances.
David Johnson was awesome.
Yes,
and Cooper Hoffman as well.
David Johnson probably was the best performance. Of the movie, but Cooper Hoffman holds his own as well.
Yeah. It's about friendship and mercy, and David Johnson's character convinces the Cooper Hoffman character to not seek vengeance, and at the end of the film, he himself seeks vengeance and kills the general. Sorry, I should have said spoiler warning, but it's just like, it's kind of a sad theme. Like, it's a sad thing thematically when you just abandon the whole point of the film right at the end. So I would have given this 4 stars like you've been. Until that last scene, I knocked it down a whole star.
I think I gave it 3.5, but still.
Okay.
Like, I think same. I think I knocked it down at least half star.
It just makes me so mad. Like, they almost had me. Like, why? And sticking the landing on a movie like this is really important.
Well, and I'm sure I would love to read the book and see what the actual, like, how much more context it adds and what the ending is like in the book.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if they went too far off of what the book was like, people would have been upset.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like people are watching this movie who aren't necessarily like diehard Stephen King fans, so it's kind of gained a little bit more popularity than just that.
Yeah. Mark Hamill's awesome in this. He's like ominous, like, yeah, you gotta have what it takes, And then they like yell at him, "I hate you. You could die," and he's like, "Yeah, that's what I want to hear." It's just
his tone never changes.
It's so funny
throughout the whole. He's putting on a performance the entire movie. It's great, and it's great to see him.
But the selfless acts in this are really, like, I was so happy to see, like, I know this is brutal, I know it's violent, I know it's wrong, but it's like they're being selfless amidst pain, and I thought that was beautiful. And at the end, when the main character, who is the heart of the film, one of the main characters took vengeance, I was like, this is, man, come on. Like, I was so mad. So with that, that's all the new movies we've seen. Hopefully, this weekend I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, we're seeing 4 new movies this weekend, including Monday.
I'll be seeing 2, and Zach will be seeing 4, so we'll have a lot to talk about.
But we maybe more than that, because we're not going to do this until 2 more weeks from now.
That's true.
So, yeah. So we'll see you next week on Movie News. Be sure to check that out. And any last thoughts?
No.
What do you think overall? Maybe we should say like state of movies. Good right now, this month.
This is like the most I've been able to pay attention to the current state of movies. Really excited about what's happening right now as of this moment.
We'll see after Monday, huh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Tress, anything?
I think that's all. You guys nailed it.
Okay, awesome. Nailed it. All right. Well, let's lock back the vault.